There has been significant strikes on Rafah, one of the most heavily populated area of Gaza. Early this morning, here Australian time, overnight Israel time. This happened as Hamas apparently agreed to some kind of ceasefire deal that was brokered by Qatar and Egypt. I want to bring in now Sky News US analyst Michael Weir. Michael, thanks so much for your time. Great to see you once again. I feel like this might be another false dawn in negotiations, but Egypt and Qatar actually brokering this is quite significant, isn't it? Even though Israel has continued with those strikes on Rafah.
Yes, it is still significant. You're quite right to say that, but you're also quite right to say that this may not be the end of the darkening storm. This appears to me to be more of a gambit or the moving of a chess piece on a very complicated board by Hamas rather than an actual peace deal. I mean, when I first saw the news burst across our screens and across our alerts, I had a breath of hope. But the more I've delved into it, the more it appears that this is just a shimmering mirage. Hamas has agreed to a deal that Israel never proposed. Yes, it's been brokered by Egypt and Qatar, and the CIA director is still in the region trying to nuance it. But Hamas has said yes to an offer that was never made. And it's an offer that it would seem to be very hard for the Israeli war cabinet, its ultra-right-wing government, or its Prime Minister Netanyahu to accept.
Yeah, and he made that pretty clear just hours afterward, didn't he? What makes this so hard for Benjamin Netanyahu to accept? I mean, his red lines seem to be that all hostages need to be released and that Hamas cannot be part of any future in Gaza. Are they two parts of what has been brokered by Qatar and Egypt?
Well, the deal, in inverted commas, as proposed, is a rolling pause of ceasefires during which prisoners would be transferred, hostages and prisoners would be exchanged and supplies could come in. But it's entirely on terms that would be very hard for Israel to accept. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Israel does not want to end this conflict with Hamas still in charge on its border.
No.
That's something, obviously, Hamas will never accept.
It's intractable. And we see, the US gently nudging, I guess, over weeks saying, support is qualified to some point. Benjamin Netanyahu, on the other hand, still threatening this ground invasion of Rafah. That hasn't happened yet. Are you seeing a glimmer of, resistance from Benjamin Netanyahu in that sense, the fact that he hasn't launched that ground invasion just yet?
A glimmer, it's like, solar flares. It's like a total eclipse. I mean, he's not accepting that under any circumstances. Because let's not forget, Benjamin Netanyahu only managed to put his government together with string and sticky tape by tying himself to the ultra conservatives.
That's right.
Within the Jewish political Israeli political landscape. And they will accept nothing less than the utter destruction of Hamas and potentially a full-time occupation of Gaza. And that's not something I'm sure that the world can swallow. So in one sense, this is a very clever and disingenuous proposal by Hamas to put further pressure on the Israelis, both internationally and internally.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, Netanyahu's government was not popular before October 7 last year, and when this war began, there was hundreds of thousands in the streets. They've only come together in a time of war. But now, much of the population is focused on the return of the hostages. They're less concerned about destroying Hamas, which is an eternal concern, than they are about getting the hostages back. And that's where Hamas has Netanyahu in the pincers, or to use a proverbial term, by the short and curly.